Be gentle with yourself. We are way too hard on ourselves as individuals, and we are our own worst enemies in most of the situations that we find ourselves in life. Being gentle with yourself is one of the crucial elements of everybody's life that I see far too often is overlooked. And I used to be that way in my own life as well. I have since learned to be gentle with myself when it comes to any goals that I'm setting or any projection forward that I'm using in my life. Being gentle with yourself is a crucial element of everybody's life that is far too often overlooked. In my own life, I find that I wasn't originally being gentle with myself when it came to setting goals and getting out of that boredom space that I had. I was very tough on myself. Personal care often falls to the wayside, and we forget how much we have to take care of ourselves instead of just the things that are in our lives or the relationships that are in our lives. Minimalism addresses those components and reminds me specifically that it isn't just about all the other things in my life, that it also is about me, because that's where everything originates, is from yourself and then outward. Feeling like you're never done and that you have to maintain this equilibrium can be exhausting, it can be daunting, it can be difficult, and sometimes you just don't want to do it. And that's an okay space to be in. No one anywhere has told you that you must be happy at all times. My personal goal for minimalism is not to be happy. It does come, but that isn't the target of my experience. Being frustrated and being upset about not going to where you want to be or things not working in your favor is okay. Be frustrated. It's an okay thing to be. And I'm giving you absolute license. You don't have to be happy all the time. Sometimes you're going to be sad. Sometimes you're going to be angry. Sometimes you just won't want to do stuff and you're just going to be irresponsible. And be gentle with yourself. Don't let that become the way that you are, and don't let it control you. Let yourself be those things and let it pass on and let it move forward. Minimalism is a tool for me that reminds me to stay grounded specifically. It helps me understand what I own, who I interact with, and how I want to move through those spaces. It reminds me not to overreach myself as well. Oftentimes when I'm thinking about this, I am overreaching my boundaries. When I'm thinking I can maintain this thing by myself or on my own, or I have to have only a certain amount of objects in my house, or I have to take care of this table, and just don't go there. Don't overreach yourself. And minimalism brings me back. It's an anchor almost to help reestablish that framework for my life. Being intentional with my relationships and being present for each one of those. When I only have those 1 to 3 friendships that I really focus on, what that does for me is that it brings that person to me as well. Meaning that when I'm developing that friendship, when I need it and I can't remember to get out of my own funk, when I'm stuck in that place of I just don't want to be responsible right now, or I just want this to be done, or I'm just angry and everything's on fire and I don't want to be there. The nurtured relationships that I have in my life bring me back and go, hey, it's okay. It will move forward beyond this. You haven't been here all your life, and it will end, and you will move forward, and things will change and shift. This requires me to be transparent in my own life and be okay with that never done space and maintaining that equilibrium. If I'm transparent with myself and I allow myself the room for those less than destructive emotions like frustration or being irresponsible, I can be there, but be transparent with yourself and transparent with myself as well. I just know that I'm going to be in that space for a little bit and then I'm going to move forward beyond that. Being transparent in this way provides solace for me, a place of respite where I can be okay and just give myself that room to be in that headspace. And so solace is one of the things that I develop in my own life, and that's also something that minimalism provides. When I have that solace space created by minimalism, Minimalism ensures that I'm only have the things in my life that matter to me, and that I have an intention with those things, and I don't have to clutter my life with a bunch of things that don't matter, which will just perpetuate that destructive headspace that doesn't really progress me forward in my life. And so minimalism brings me back and centers me into that space to remind myself, you're going to move through this. It's going to end, and it will change into something even better. When there is a purpose for all those things that are in my life, I can rest easy, and the same thing can be said for the friendships and relationships that I have. When I know that I've been nurturing those things with my minimalism and being really intentional with them, I know that they're also going to reciprocate and help me out when I get stuck in those places. And that's how minimalism helps me develop those spaces to have the solace and then move forward past that. Chaos of scattered intention or the absence of intention is just going to lead to even more problems. And so if you don't have a focus in your life on what you want to have intention in your life with, if you don't know why you have the things or what there is in your life, or even just being aware of what's in your house or in your immediate vicinity, or why you have the relationships that you do, it's just scattered intention, and you can't get everything together and then go forward. And that's what minimalism does for me. It provides that framework and gives me essentially the tools to move myself forward past the situations that I'm currently experiencing, positive and negative. This week, I want you to find a place of solace, just like I have found places of solace in my own life. And remember that a place of solace doesn't necessarily mean it's physical. It doesn't just have to be a place that you go. It very well might be. Maybe it's a place in your house or a chair that you like, but it also could be something like a flow state, for example. Like some of the athletes, sometimes they get into that zone, and that's where they find solace. For another one of my instructors in the acrobatics community, one of the things that is her solace place is doing handstands for hours on end. Hours and hours. That's her place. That's where she does her meditation. And that's a fantastic space for her solace, but it's not an actual place. Her solace is within her own self, in her own body, and then she puts herself together and regrounds herself and centers herself and then moves forward, and that's her place of solace. So don't just get trapped in the idea that a solace place is a physical, tangible thing. It could be an activity that you enjoy, or a hobby that you pursue, or even your job. Knowing where your solace space is will reinforce your stewardship. Not just of yourself in that specific situation to bolster yourself, push yourself back together, get out of that frustrated, destructive mindset, but also that stewardship of everything else in your life that helps support you and moves you forward past those destructive thoughts. And so finding that solace is you're being a steward of that space, or you're a steward of the ability to do the function or the activity, such as the handstands that my instructor has. And also understand that your place of solace is gonna change. Remember that you're never really done. You're developing an equilibrium. For some time, that solace will be the place you go to, but not always. Sometimes it's gonna change. Originally, my solace space was in a gypsy wagon that I had built at one point many years ago. And that's where I found solace. And then it moved on from my life and it entered another person's life. And then I found solace in another place. And then I started finding the internal solace. So now it's not attached to necessarily a place, but it's more attached to who's in my life, what communities I have, and more about what I do as an activity, the healthiness of my body. And specifically, movement for me is a place where I find solace. So it's not connected to a specific place. Find that place of solace for yourself and share that. I know that might be a little uncomfortable because it tends to be fairly private, but remember that when you find your place of solace and then you put up on our Instagram page or in the comments down below, #solace, it will also help people potentially find their own place of solace and give them more instruction of how to enact a place of solace, to find their security and to find a place where they can refresh themselves and then move forward past a difficult place that might be in their life. But we don't know what all of these places are for each individual, and maybe one space that you have will speak to another person, and that's why this channel is here. Remember, your activity this week is to find that place of solace. use the hashtag Solace, SOLACE, and hashtag Steward to let us know what your place of solace is, to put together a compendium of all the places of solace that you guys have found, to help everybody else who's looking at the channel too, to find their place of solace and maybe help themselves heal. So don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and see what's going on the Instagram as well. Thank you for watching. Stay curious.